everybody, and welcome once again to another episode of Bill Has Opinions, the haunted problem with a drinking show. And I'm Laura Lavoie, and I'm here with Bill Perkins, who has opinions.
Hello.
Are you a ghost?
No, I just felt like saying hello like that.
That's fair.
Yeah.
All right, so welcome to the show. I'm super sorry we're late today for anyone who was attempting to tune in live.
Yeah.
We had some scheduling, so let's just say.
To be fair.
To be fair. We had some scheduling issues. We decided to do the show today live from the Purple Onion, and that led to some traffic issues, and there was also prior to that some furnace repair guy issues, and then we were here, and then we had dinner first, and then we had a couple beers.
Yeah, and the nature of restauranting right now, you can't really get in and out like you used to could because, staffing and whatnot. Speaking of staffing, though, I was supposed to give a mad shout out to what was it? The
Slim Reaper,
the Slim
I believe.
Reaper, who made my Mediterranean plate, which I just finished up and thoroughly enjoyed. He made it special and left off the tomatoes and cucumbers for me.
Did indeed.
I like it.
So real quick,
the mushy vegetables.
this is as a secondary little situation here. You get to there. Where is it? So while we're giving the shout out, we should mention that we were at the Purple Onion, of course.
We totally were.
So that is where the Slim Reaper is making food for us.
He's working the expo station there, making your salads.
Yeah, no, and I had a salad too, and the salad I had was very delightful. So highly recommend. Check out the Purple Onion whenever you have a chance. That's what I say. All right. But so otherwise, how are you?
What?
Oh, there it is. No, we had a bit of so now we're also having little internet glitches. Stick with us, fans.
All
We're
right.
here. I swear to God.
Yeah, I told you guys, but I went to Pumpkin Town yesterday just to get the heck out of the house for a minute. Pumpkin Town is a little crossroads down in South Carolina, just about 15 miles down the road from my house, and it's not much to see there, but they do have a giant pumpkin made out of what looks to be expanding foam.
Oh, of course.
It's like, but it's like made into like a dollhouse. Oh, not a dollhouse, like a playhouse.
Right.
Like a Peter Pumpkin Eater kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And it looks like you used to be able to like go inside and stick your head out the window for photo ops, but now it has a sign on it that says no climbing. So I assume that means you can't go in it anymore. Like, 'cause it's on the back of a trailer. I don't know what the hell's going on. This place looks like it was trying to be a thing maybe like 10, 15 years ago. Like they might have had like a little resort, and like they might have had hotel rooms and an antique store and all this stuff. But now it's basically there's just a barbecue joint that's got like sort of a Cracker Barrel meets Bavarian restaurant sort of aesthetic.
Yeah.
It was really weird.
Did they at least have pumpkins? Like, could you buy pumpkins? They
had a bunch of pumpkins out front, so I assumed maybe they were for sale. Or I don't know if they were for sale, if they were just there for aesthetics. I didn't really ask because I didn't need a pumpkin. Well, I mean, I do need a pumpkin, but I wasn't going to buy one there because I felt like there'd be a markup with the place being called Pumpkin Town.
I mean, you never know.
I mean,
could have at least asked.
I guess.
How much are your pumpkins?
I guess.
Could have been like
I didn't want to drive around with a pumpkin all afternoon.
That's fair.
So I didn't buy a pumpkin, but I did buy some pumpkin bread, which I ate
on
the spot.
No, I do like.
I gobbled it down.
And was it good? Like good farmers market quality, like those roadside farmer markets?
It was very good. It was moist and it was perfect. I enjoyed it. Yeah.
Nice.
So
that's all you can ask for.
That's the
right?
thing I did. Yeah.
That is all right. So yeah, no, our weekend. So well, we watched football yesterday.
You watched football. You didn't do anything mildly spoopy over the weekend?
No. Well, we went to nothing spoopy. On Saturday, we went out to bar hopping with our friend. Well, actually, I should preface this by saying Friday night, we went out to a concert, an outdoor concert at Rabbit
saw
Rabbit.
the humble
downtown.
hamsters.
We saw Modest Mouse.
Oh, that's right.
And it was really cool. And it was really cool because it was an outdoor venue, and they were trying to keep people really safe. They did a vaccine cards, and it was outdoors, so we felt relatively good. We were away from people most of the time.
Yeah.
And the show was fantastic, like really, really, really good. But we got way too drunk. We went out with our neighbors, and oh Lord, Saturday was hard.
Yeah.
Saturday was very hard. I am too old for that.
You had you had
like 10 too many beers.
Oh wow,
That's
yeah,
what I
that
had.
10 too many. Well,
10 too
wait,
many
10 passed when you should have stopped?
No.
Okay, you had 10 and that was too
I
many.
think so. Yeah, I actually lost
You only
count.
had
I have
two.
no idea how
You
many
had
I
two
had.
too many.
Yeah.
Well, that's to me. Like if I have 8, that's good. And
No,
if I have
that's
9, that's
too many
precedent.
still.
You know.
Yeah, no, I could have stopped like 3 drinks before I did.
Right. Okay.
And I still probably would have felt hungover. I just wouldn't have felt as terrible.
Right.
But I'm not a young person anymore, and I should not do that.
Yeah.
And then, though, we had already made plans with a friend to go bar hopping the next day.
And
at
you didn't want
noon.
to cancel?
No, at noon. So
you did want to cancel,
yeah,
but you didn't cancel.
I did want to cancel, but then I was like, I don't really want to cancel. So, you know what I love about this super spooky location is that there's the ghost of our computer monitor up up above us.
I saw that earlier, and I was like, I didn't know whether to make a thing or not.
I decided to because we're doing an episode about ghosts. So before we get into ghosts, let's talk about the beer.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Our spirits. Let's get into our spirits.
Okay.
What you got?
Oh, I'm drinking, and a rare event for me, I'm drinking an IPA. It's called Galaxy, and it's from, was it Innovation? Boojum. I know it's from somewhere out west of here.
Not west of here, which is like 10 minutes from here. Yeah. 20 minutes from here.
It's
30 minutes from here.
Anyways, yeah, so and it's pretty good. If I've mentioned in the past that one of the few IPAs I like is Space Dust from Elysium, and this one is to be a knockoff of that one. So kudos to it, except for it lacks the extra 3 ABVs, although I don't need them because then I'll feel like you felt over the weekend.
Yeah, that's fair. And I'll be honest, we had 2 beers before the show even started. So while we were eating the food. So we don't normally pregame quite that much ahead of a show.
I sometimes have 2 beers before the show, but they're usually not like very heavy. And I realized afterwards, I looked up at the thing and saw that they were both like 6. And I was like, wow, okay, that could get dangerous quick, I suppose. I mean, it's not the worst thing, but sometimes there's always like one beer I don't account for usually. Like I'll drink 2 regular ones and then I'll have one that's like 9 or something.
Right.
And then it sneaks up on me. So
right.
But 3 6s is still, that's when you're getting a little cuckoo.
Well, that's fair. So I've been really feeling the porters because it's getting colder. So there's a camera up there. I'm doing an oatmeal porter right now.
Yeah. Oh, and speaking of that kind of thing, so earlier I had a stout. I had a Moohoo stout.
The Moohoo, which is like a chocolate milk stout.
Yeah, from Terrapin.
It's very sweet.
Yeah, it was very sweet. I enjoyed it until about 3/4 of the way. And then it gets a little strong towards the end. You're like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So I switched it up after that.
I like a Moohoo, but yeah, it's a one and done sort of situation.
Yeah, it's more of a dessert beer kind of really, and I should have started with it.
Yeah, I thought about getting one, but then I was in the middle of eating a Caesar salad, and I was like,
that'd be weird.
That seems wrong. Like chocolate milk and it just didn't seem right.
You know what's funny? My grandmother used to believe a lot of weird shit, and one of the things she believed was if you drank milk with certain things that milk didn't go with, that you would die.
Oh, that's extreme. That wasn't because I was like, you'll have a stomach ache, you'll throw up. No, I wasn't expecting straight to death.
You'll die. Like she would be like, you can't have milk and fish, you'll die.
Oh my god.
And I was like, well, I don't know if you'll die. They don't really like. You might not like it, but
yeah, they don't always go together. But then there are fish dishes that are made like
with a cream
poached
sauce
in milk or in a cream sauce, right? So you clearly won't die.
You won't die.
It might taste gross.
And I've heard that there's a southern urban legend that like if you drink milk with watermelon, you might also die. Apparently.
Holy shit! I've never tried that.
It's this is tantamount to the Korean belief in the fan death. Have you heard of that one? Like if you go to sleep in a room with a fan on.
I have not, although I would be dead. I would have been dead 20-some years ago.
Yeah, apparently people in like South Korea believe that you can die from going to sleep in a room with a fan going.
All right.
And that's cuckoo pants because we all do it here.
Do well, I know I've heard like the standard. I watch a lot of cooking shows, right? The standard is, you don't make fish with cheese, but I think there are many exceptions.
But they put cheese on a damn fillet of fish.
Sure,
and it's actually fucking delicious.
A tuna melt is it? But even like if you're not just looking for like fast food fish sandwiches, like I love salmon with goat cheese.
Yeah,
like that shit's delicious.
Yeah, well, I mean salmon and on a bagel with cream cheese. Ooh. That's a thing.
Yeah, that's a thing.
Yeah,
that's delicious.
That's crazy pants. Anyway, we digress. We really
we were talking about dying, and maybe
that's true. Yeah,
maybe the people that haunt you are people who ate milk and fish. That's what's happening. So yes, the episode today that we bring to you at whatever freaking time we started, I'm gonna have to keep an eye on the time because I have no idea. Time has no meaning.
Yeah,
but we're talking.
It does it when you're a ghost.
That's true.
You're going to be doing the same thing day in
We're talking
and day
about
out.
Ghosts, folks. Ghosts.
Yep.
That's it.
Hey, you know what kind of math ghosts do?
What kind of math do ghosts do?
Boolean algebra.
Oh. That's good stuff right there.
Yeah.
Yes. All right. So my primary motivation for doing a ghost show is one of my favorite I guess you could call it a video podcast, but it's way more produced than ours, is BuzzFeed Unsolved Supernatural, which they do actual ghost hunting. So there's two guys, like millennial guys, that actually go into haunted places.
Right.
The best part, the reason it's so freaking funny is they have, like, it's not like some of the other really produced shows with, ghost hunters where they take themselves super guys. One of the guys doesn't believe in ghosts at all, so he'll go into the hauntedest places in the country and just give the ghost shit. Like he'll go in and he'll be like, "All right, ghost, possess me. Just do this, do that," and it's freaking hilarious. And the other guy genuinely believes, and he gets super, super, super terrified of everything.
Yeah,
and it is the funniest thing to watch. And they have
entertaining.
No scientific. I mean, not that ghost hunting is overly scientific, but no scientific approach to this whatsoever. They just go in a room and start saying, "All right, if you're here, let me know."
Right. Oh, so they don't even bring in
a couple of small tools, which we'll talk about later.
All right.
But yeah, so my favorite part of the show in particular is that the tagline of the show is that they want to answer the question, "Are ghosts real?"
Okay.
And the one guy always says, "No, ghosts are clearly not real."
Not real.
So I figure I believe your stance on this is ghosts in general are not real.
I am generally sort of skeptical about it. Yeah, like I'm a general skeptic. I mean, I'm atheistic leaning agnostic, so I don't really believe in the spiritual world per se. So I would say I lean very skeptical on ghosts or anything of that nature, demons or any of that kind of weird shit like that. I tend to be like, yeah, that's just mythology people made up to explain shit,
Sure.
But that being said, I do currently live in a haunted house.
Oh, yeah.
And some stuff has happened that makes me a little bit more open-minded about it, I guess. I'd say.
Nice.
I'm not seeing anything directly, okay?
Okay.
But other people in my family have seen things. Now, I will say this, me being a skeptic and a non-believer, I feel like if there are ghosts, they definitely can't reveal themselves to people who aren't open to them. You know what I'm saying? Like,
all right,
there are people who are more like I'm not going to go as far as to say somebody's a medium, but I will say somebody like there are people who are a tad more open to the idea than other people, and those people might be more the kinds of people that the ghost would speak. It's like so to cite like in Beetlejuice, the ghosts in the house didn't talk. They didn't go talk to Delia or somebody, because she wouldn't have been receptive. They wouldn't talk to Lydia because she was like on their wavelength, right?
Yeah, no, I think that's fair.
So it's like that, and so anyway, that being said, so we bought a house that was built by the previous tenant who died there.
And it kind of has a Winchester House feel to it.
It's got a little
she's like, I want a room, I'm gonna build a room.
It's got some wackiness. It's got some things that she just wanted to do. It's very much her house. Like she built the house she wanted to build, right? Mm-hmm. I will say that. So she's invested in it because she didn't just build this house, she also designed this house. So it's not just like she didn't just live there and die there. She designed it, she built it, she lived in it, and then she died there.
Right.
And then she was also a hoarder, and she left tons of stuff there. And we have not gotten rid of all of her stuff. And this is funny because I was talking to somebody who's more open-minded than me about this, one time, and I said something about how I just mentioned that my house was haunted, and that the previous owner was a hoarder and all this stuff, and they were like, "You didn't get rid of all the stuff, did you?" And I was like, "No," and they're like, "Yeah, that's why she's still there."
That's why. Yeah.
But okay, here's two other incidents that have happened in the house. Okay, my grandson Xavier was playing one night, and he was talking as if he was talking to someone.
Right.
He's up on the catwalk. My house has this one room. The living room's got this like a cathedral ceiling, and then there's like a catwalk on the second floor that's also in the same room, but up above. And he was up on the catwalk, and he was talking, and his mother asked him, "Who are you talking to?" And he said, "Joan."
Oh shit!
And that's the name of the lady who died there.
Oh shit!
Yeah.
Holy shit! Yeah. See, that's the kind of shit that would.
So that's cuckoo pants.
Folks, we have been visited by a spirit.
Yes. And then the other crazy thing that's happened, we had a person over to clean the house one time, and we didn't tell her anything about any of that shit, because it's not pertinent to cleaning my house.
Cleaning a house, sure, that's fair.
But she, at some point during cleaning the house, she stopped and turned to my wife and said, "I'm getting a feeling like there's a presence here, like a female presence, like following me around."
Shit!
So those are two things that have happened.
All right.
So I'm a little bit more like, okay, maybe something's.
All right, well, because like the thing with Xavier, right? He's too young to have really known who the person was.
That's the thing. It's like naming her name was the thing that like everybody go, what?
Yeah.
Because he doesn't know the story. He doesn't know.
And he moved in a couple of years ago. I mean, he was super young when he moved in.
Right.
So
yeah.
And
you don't bring don't bring a toddler into a house and go, "By the way, this place is hella haunted." Right. And the ghost's name is Joan. You don't want to freak children out.
Yeah, I'm not even sure he would have been in a position to hear you talking about the former owner by name either.
No, we don't talk about her whole. We only ever talk about her actually when we're fixing something that's cuckoo pants, because she made some interesting decisions sometimes about how to do things.
Right, which is why I say it's a little Winchester House-ish.
Yeah.
Because
sometimes we'll be. Well, it's not like it's designed cuckoo pants on purpose. I think it's more like it's designed cuckoo pants by someone who tried to architect their own house but doesn't know the first thing about architecture.
Right.
And so sometimes there's some screwy cut corners and stuff. And that's what happened is like the only time I ever really mention her is when we're undoing some mess she made, and we're like, "Son of a bitch, Joan, why did you do this?"
Right.
Because Oh, this is one of the crazy things. The craziest design thing she did was, so if she ever like affixed something, like say like there's a shelf bolted to the wall, there will be alternating flathead and Phillips head screws just to piss you off. Like it's like
she just used whatever she found.
Yeah, basically, I think that's it. I think she was like really frugal.
Well, but she hoarded. She probably just had a bunch of screws
she had a
in
bunch
a jar.
But I swear to God, like every time you go to do anything, it'll alternate. It'll be like flathead, Phillips head, flathead, Phillips head, flathead, Phillips head. And so you got to like, and in my house, like when I go to hunt a screwdriver, I swear to God, like 90% of the time, if I think I need a Phillips head and I go to the drawer where the screwdrivers are, it'll be all flatheads. Like there'll be no Phillips heads to be found. But alternately, if I go to the drawer looking for flatheads, then suddenly
all the Phillips heads.
It's all Phillips heads. And I'm like, what happens? Who comes and moves all the screwdrivers around?
Frankly, it could be Joan.
Well, that's another thing. So Joan had an interest in witchcraft.
Yeah, I know that.
Yeah, because one of the things I said we kept some of her stuff. One of the things we kept was there was a sizable library of books on herbology and witchcraft and stuff. And we were like, shit, that's interesting as fuck. I'm keeping that.
Right, right.
So those are still on the bookshelf there. And anyway, the only time I wasn't what kind of witch is, but I say like the only witchery she really does is this house has like a ability to make you do things like when you walk into another room, you forget why you walked in the other room. Like you went looking for something, but as soon as you walk through the doorway, you forget. And also, things that you're looking for tend to be misplaced all the fucking time. Like you can know for a fact that you left the screwdriver on the table, and you can come back and it's not there. It'll be somewhere else. And so that's the kind of witchery I ascribe to Joan is that nothing's ever where I left it. And also, like I said, the house has an uncanny ability to like erase my memory when I go looking for something.
I mean, in fairness, that could also be the fact that we're in our late 40s and we tend to do that.
It could be something completely rational, but
I'm not entirely sure our house is haunted. It was an owner-built house, and only 2 other people have lived in it. I've done some research, and so I know that the person that moved, the first owner of the house, died in the house, and then the second owner was the nephew of the first owner of the house, and he also died in the house.
Oh.
So I know this to be true, but I've never, if Charles and Olive are still in our house, they're very benevolent. They're very kind.
Well,
because I've never known anything negative to happen in there, and it has a good feeling about it.
Yeah, and that's one of those things. So I've had people have asked me like, why don't you have her exercise, or why don't you haul all of her stuff out so that you can like shoo her out of the house? And I'm like, well, because she doesn't bother me. Like,
right.
It for the most part, like if the worst thing she does is move a screwdriver, I really don't give a shit.
In fact, and we could get into a whole thing. You could do like a nice little ritual for Joan, like be like, hey Joan, we're really appreciative of your house. And light some incense, light a candle, and like do a little ritual.
Yeah.
Then let her know that you're cool, like you want to be there and you want her to still be there, and just don't fuck your shit up too much.
Right. I guess we could do that.
That's if you want to get into witchcraft, she was apparently into it.
That's true.
I know people who know people.
Well, and I also kind of like, but here's the thing, I also like having the mystery of it, and like, I don't really want to know things per se. I'd rather continue to be able to be, a borderline skeptic and not really know, right?
Right.
So,
right.
If I was to have a seance or some shit, and she actually like showed up and talked to me, then I'd be like, okay, well now I'm freaked the fuck out. This changed my whole world.
Well, I'm not saying you have a seance. Just hold a little, like, light some candles and incense and tell her that you're grateful for living.
Although I will say, I felt we have gradually gotten rid of more and more stuff. I mean, I still have the entire bookshelf, and that's the only part of the house now. I used to feel her presence in more than one room, but as we've gradually gotten rid of more and more stuff, like the only place I think there's any sense of her being is in that bookshelf area in the living room now.
Yeah.
I don't really want to get rid of her altogether. Is what I'm saying. But I do feel like she's kind of dissipated a bit. Like she used to be more present when there was more of her stuff there.
Well, and
If that makes any
she may feel kind of comfortable with the the fact that the nice family lives there. You know what I mean? Like, she might have been sticking around going, yeah, let's see if some assholes bought my house.
Right.
But now she's like, all right, a nice family lives there. I like them. All right, so we already did technically a station break, gave a shout out to the Purple Onion.
Yeah.
And we're 25 minutes into the show, so let's just launch into some things.
Okay.
Shall we? All right, so in our effort to prove if ghosts are real, let's talk about some types of ghosts.
Okay.
All right.
Sure.
So I think this is what you've got, an interactive personality. So this is like the presence, like you never see anything, but things get moved, you hear noises, there might be like phantom scents. And I know like you sometimes have phantom scents of cigarette smoke, but that might be because there's literally cigarette smoke.
That's because someone smoked in the house for 40 years.
Yeah.
And so the entire house smells like cigarette smoke.
But, sometimes when you get that, like, super whiff, like, this house has been very clean and very painted, so it should not smell like tobacco.
Yeah.
That could be a ghost.
I guess it could be. Also, the only other thing I remember, going back to Joan, the only other thing, me and my wife have been sitting in the living room watching TV one night, and right behind the bookshelf is the stairwell to the basement, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we were sitting there watching TV, and all of a sudden, there's like a bucket of nails or something in the stairwell, like sitting on the ledge at the edge of the stairwell.
Sure.
And abruptly, this entire bucket of nails got like kicked down the stairwell. We heard it. While we're sitting there watching TV.
Right.
We're the only two people in the house.
Right.
Nobody's in the stairwell to the basement. And we're just like...
And it wasn't like it just teetered off the edge. Like it got...
No, this was like
actively...
something had to actively have moved it. And so we're just like, yeah, that's interesting. We just kind of like, okay, we'll deal with that later.
So... Many, many years ago, Matt and I owned a house in Dearborn, Michigan, and it was built in 1940, and we don't know the history of the house. We don't know who owned it before or anything like that. But we had an interactive personality in that house, in that I swear on my life that there was a ghost cat in that house. Swear on my life there was a ghost cat. Even before we got our own cat, like I would just out of the corner of my eye see a cat, like a shadow of a cat.
Uh-huh.
Like before we ever had a cat, like and then it got even weirder once we got the cat, and cats tend to be pretty susceptible to like supernatural forces.
Yeah, cats and dogs tend to be a little more open, I feel like. When
we got our cat, our old cat Piglet, she would jump at the wall for no reason. And I realized cats do that. It just seemed like it was always when I got the glimpse of something. You know what I mean? And I specifically remember one time because Matt probably is, he's probably agnostic, skeptical, all right? But we were, he's always been sort of open-minded to it, but not like seeking it out kind of thing, I'll say. So I do remember one time after we had our cat Piglet, she was just a kitten, and he said, he walked into the living room and he saw a cat and he said, "Hi, Piglet." And then he turned around and she was standing right behind him. So, like, there was no way she had been in the living room. Like, It wasn't possible. So, in the fact that we all had the same, like, we both had this whole situation. And it was before I had a cat, so it wasn't, like, I saw it before we had a cat.
Right.
So it wasn't like I was imagining, like, my cat was somewhere. So I swear that house had a ghost cat.
Huh.
But then we moved away, and it was a nice cat. It seemed like a nice cat, but I swear it was haunting that house.
Right.
So other options, right? Here's a good one that we know from the movies: the ectoplasm or mist.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And the question is, does that really exist? Like, is that just a creation? Is that something we see in Ghostbusters, or is mist or ectoplasm truly a supernatural element?
I feel like that was actually an idea that got created during the late 1890s through the 1920s when spiritualism became a
yes.
big deal.
Yes.
And most of that was a con job.
Yes.
And so ectoplasm was a physical evidence of the spiritual world, if you will.
Right, that it was present in our.
Yeah, but it was something that like I've in reading, I've only read about it in the sense of spiritualism, like when someone would get have a stage show where they would get up and conjure a spirit.
Right, and they would have like a secret fog machine.
Yeah, so it seems to me like it's some kind of snake oil, really. It's just nonsense that people made up.
And it looks good in movies, right?
It does yeah.
If you're gonna do that, you're gonna throw that in the movie.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, but yeah, you don't. I don't know that I've heard about it from any
real sources.
Yeah, exactly.
It comes up it comes up when you search ghost hunting, like that. It comes
Is this something
up.
that ghost hunters have ever seen? Though?
I don't know that I've ever
seen one. But to be honest, most of those ghost hunting things I've ever watched is just two people walking around in the dark with a camera and
correct
and scaring them, getting themselves worked up to lather and then getting spooked.
Yes, which is why you need to watch BuzzFeed Unsolved Supernatural, because that's exactly what the show is, and it's freaking hilarious.
Yeah, but every time I ever watch one of those shows, it's like there's nothing that makes me think anything's really happening aside from someone getting themselves worked up. And I'll say this: when I was in high school, I had a friend who was into this kind of shit, and he would be. And every town has probably some legend about some place outside of town.
Oh yeah,
where some shit happened or whatever.
Yeah.
And so we were no different, and we had a couple of places within 20 miles of our town. And I remember on weekends he'd be like, "Hey, you want to go out to Montrose Cemetery on Friday night?" And I'm like, "Oh, okay, whatever, Or do you want to go to there was a place called the Devil's Tree.
Oh, that sounds scary.
And supposedly it's where there were sacrificial rituals at this place.
Right, we're part of the satanic panic.
Yeah, it was a satanic panic thing. And secondly, if you ask 10 people where the witch's tree was, you get 10 different fucking answers. Nobody seemed to know where this thing was, okay?
Right.
But one weekend, I remember we were going, he wanted to go to where he thought the witch's tree was. And I was like, fine, we'll go do it. And dude, I just remember, the whole time him just being he was like Shaggy from Scooby-Doo. He was just like, oh my God! Every time you hear like a fucking leaf rattle, what was that? And I was like, dude, it's your imagination is what it is. You've worked yourself up into a damn lather over this bullshit.
Exactly.
Over something happening, and nothing's going to happen.
Exactly.
Because this. So yeah, so that's the funny part about that kind of stuff is, the mind is an interesting thing, and you read some interesting studies about perception and reality and how memory works and all that kind of stuff, and it's really easy to convince yourself of whatever really you want to believe.
Right, that's fair. So that brings us to the next ghost on the list. The very famous, the one I think the kind of ghost most people know is a poltergeist.
Uh-huh.
So, of course, poltergeist is a German word. It basically means this is a very
it's a
malevolent spirit.
Is it a malevolent or is it just unrestful?
Well, yeah, but they tend to actually cause harm.
But from what I've read also about poltergeist actually isn't a... The prevailing theory is that poltergeist is not actually spiritual activity as much as it's like
a demonic.
Well, it's like a negative energy. It tends to happen around adolescents and teenagers.
Yeah.
So basically, it's like some sort of bad vibe that teenagers are giving off.
Sure.
And I don't know if I put any stock in that either, but it makes more sense than ghosts, to be honest with you.
Sure.
To me.
Right. The entire, and obviously many movies have been made about this. They call themselves the Ghoul Boys on BuzzFeed Unsolved. I watched them go to the Conjuring house, the house where the events of the Conjuring took place, right?
Okay.
And this place is supposed to be super hella haunted, right?
Mm.
And it had tons of, poltergeist style activity where, doors were opening constantly, chairs are moving, drawers are opening, all that sort of thing.
Yeah.
It's like without anybody being around. So
Sure.
obviously it doesn't happen like it does in the movies, where all of a sudden a drawer opens and then all the knives come flying out. That usually isn't what happens, right? But my guess is poltergeist. Like in this case, they were in this house, and at one point they were upstairs, and then the front door mysteriously opened. And it's probably because it's an old ass house where the front door didn't latch.
Right. Things aren't level or whatever.
Right. So
yeah, I don't know. So sorry, because you mentioned The Conjuring, and that then harkens back to the what was the name of the family, the mediums that are involved in all those.
Oh shit! I know. I would have known because I just watched this episode of BuzzFeed. But all I really remember is that in the movie, the woman was played by oh shit! I would have known that too a second ago. The woman that played Norma Bates in Bates Motel.
Yeah.
Vera Farmiga. But I don't know what the actual name of the people are. But yeah, they were huge shysters.
Exactly. That's what I was getting at. Is I think they're the biggest con artists. So
for sure.
Let's back it up, because the biggest thing they were involved in was the Amityville Horror, and so that whole thing was a goddamn scam. So the one resident of the house, the Warrens. Thank you, Jay.
The Warrens, yes, thank you.
The Warrens are a bunch of fucking scam artists.
Yes, that's
them. If they lived now, they'd be selling LuLaRoe or something.
Oh, for sure. Yes. Yes.
Anyway, so it's my understanding. Here's the story behind the Amityville Horror. So the one guy, he killed his entire family, right? He's now in jail. He's awaiting trial. The next family that moves in buys the house. So they're in the house maybe 6 months in, and then they realize they're upside down in this shit. They're like they can't afford it. It's a bigger house than they can afford, and they're losing their shit. And so the lawyer from the guy who killed the family approaches this current resident and says, "Hey, I'm trying to take this angle of my client was possessed by the devil.
Right.
If you would like to weasel out of your real estate contract, I got a plan for both of us. And here's the deal. You tell everybody this house is hella haunted. You can't stand it. There's all kinds of crazy shit going on. And then that will give credence to my story for my client.
Right.
And he'll get off for the murder rap. And you guys will get out of your real estate deal. And everybody will be happy." And here's the thing. So that house, I don't remember what the story was, what they finally did weasel out of the contract. Anyway, since they left, there have been 5 or 6 families that have lived in that same house, right? And nobody since then has ever seen a goddamn thing or ever reported anything hinky happening.
Right.
Nothing weird goes on in that house. So, if it was so crazy haunted and possessed by the devil, seems like it would have bothered the next people and the next people and the next people.
Exactly.
But it never bothered anybody.
And
the only thing that ever bothered anybody was that the house was recognizable enough.
Yeah, the people's tourists.
Because of fucking tourists.
Yeah.
They actually had to take those fucking semicircle windows out.
Yeah.
They're gone now. If you drive past the house today, they've changed the upstairs windows so that tourists will fuck up.
Yeah, no, absolutely. But the Warrens, so they, those were this is some of the weird shit about the satanic panic in the 90s, too, obviously. Before. But, they were called in as, the expert witnesses, right? So they came in and they staged a bunch of bullshit.
Yeah.
And then they're like, we saw a bunch of bullshit.
Yeah, we saw the bullshit. It happened.
Totally happened. Which happened during the satanic panic, too. Specifically, this is off track a little, but the West Memphis 3, right? The teenagers that were accused of killing young children, and then they actually that's a whole other show. But they the thing that convicted them was they had this expert in Satanism who come in. This guy, when you watch the documentary about it, which is the reason the West Memphis Fair is free right now, is that this guy like made his own certificate. Like he hand drew it. That was like certification in demonic, like, and that was like they let him be an expert witness, but he possesses zero credit.
Because, like I said, people believe what they fucking want to believe, right?
Right.
Like it's and how you gonna prove this kind of shit? Like it's complete nonsense. But anyway,
but that's another show, and that's a good show. We should do.
We should do a show about the Satanic Panic because I remember it unfondly.
Yeah,
And we can talk about that in another show. But anyway, let's move on to the next kind of ghost.
Orbs. Oh, so these are ones that are picked up mostly in photographs.
Right.
So, for example, if I were to take a photo of our computer screen right now, and then in that photo would be the computer screen behind us, it might just show up as a little glare. Yeah, and then we'd be like, there must be a ghost.
Yeah. It's so funny. Actually, you know what? I'm on this Facebook forum for like some sort of real estate shaming, and once in a while somebody will post some pictures and the pictures will be full of orbs.
Right.
And people will be like, oh my God, that's a murder house. It's full of orbs. And I'm like, or conversely, it is a house with shag carpet and it's full of dust.
Right.
Which tends to catch the light when you're taking photographs and tends to make small circular specks in the photographs.
See, I pointed out that we have a ghost laptop floating in our shoulder. That's because we're haunted. That is clearly
right. It's what's crazy is that thing's running like Windows 95. Woo!
So scary. Like somebody's typing on it. Look, there's a ghost typing on it. So, oh God. So orbs are ridiculous. I get that sometimes weird ass shit ends up in a photograph, but photographs are just all they do is record light. So they do and we are still our digital photography is so far advanced from old school film cameras where you did the development and stuff. But especially with those old school cameras, there was always room for mistakes. If just a speck of dust got on the film.
Absolutely. Oh God, I took photography in art school, and I was a fair to middling photographer, but a very shitty photo processor. Yeah, I made. Oh my God, I would get dust all over my negatives, and I would make the worst photos.
Or conversely, you could have made the best photos and sold them as evidence of ghosts.
That's what I was going for. I was like, woo! Look at all the ghosts in my photos, But yeah.
Right? So yeah, I think orbs are a difficult one. If I'm standing literally in a room with no lights, and I saw something go floating by me that was unexplainable, that would be one thing.
Yeah. If I saw a ball of light in a dark,
ghost.
Yeah, that might be a little bit more convincing, but I'm not buying it. Just like seeing a. Usually, you see these things, and it's always a speck of light in a. It's in a dark room, but there's always like one window in the background. Yeah. It's like a full beam of fucking sunlight.
Exactly.
And I'm like, well, yeah, it's clearly the sunlight's catching something and making these damn orbs, if you will.
Exactly. So while I am not a skeptic, I actually fully believe in ghosts. I think things like orbs and mist and
you can be a skeptic and still believe in things. I think also
that's fair.
It's just keeping your bullshit meter.
What's his name? What was his name? Randy.
Oh gosh, yeah.
He was the most famous skeptic.
Oh God, I usually knew this.
Yeah, I know. James Randi.
Yes. James Randi. Yeah.
He was definitely, and Houdini for that matter. Houdini was an absolute skeptic.
Right, but also probably somebody who believed in the spiritual world.
But he did not.
He did not?
No. After he died, because his mission even after death was to disprove spiritualism.
I'll tell you what's going to happen is I'm not coming back.
Well, no, that's what he did. So he and his wife made a pact that if either of them died before the other, and of course he was killed tragically, that they would do a number of seances. And the proof would be you had the medium would have to provide this very specific message, and by the time his wife died, nobody had been able to provide it, and she continued to do them.
Okay.
She did them for a long time after that.
Got you. Okay. Yeah, I used to watch those. You remember that back in the, I want to say late 90s, early 2000s, maybe when they used to have a lot of shows on TV, and one of them was a Ghost Whisperer.
Oh, show. Yeah. I never watched it, but I'm familiar
but
with
it's total charlatanism. I mean, it's like this guy goes, I'm sensing somebody in the audience has got somebody attached to them that's got, I want to say like a J or an M in their name. Mm-hmm. And then somebody would be like, oh, Michael! And he'd be like, yes, I'm sensing Michael. Yeah. I'm sensing Michael. Yeah. Michael's trying to talk to you.
Exactly. Like, of course.
And it's like, what a bunch of horse shit. Like, it's so stupid. Like, and you just fell for it by hollering out, Michael.
Right.
I don't know. Like, it's just funny to me because, like, I don't know. I kind of like getting around with a psychic or ghost whisperer and let them try to, like, con their bullshit on me and see how it went, because
right. I mean, that's like I'm not a skeptic because I do believe in ghosts, and I actually do believe people are mediums, but I don't think the people that are going on Donahue are mediums. Like,
right. No, that person's a con artist.
There's a difference, right?
I'm open to the idea that someone might be clairvoyant, but I'm with you. I don't think the person who is making a name for themselves. Like, Uri Geller is a fucking he's nonsense. Okay, well, not that he's a medium, but I mean, it's proven. But whatever. Yeah, he's a con artist too. Like the Warrens, Uri Geller, and all those kinds of people. Like they're fame seekers, right? They're not real. They're not. What they're doing is just nonsense.
No, and I also I've had random people tell me weird ass shit, and I'm like, okay, all right, I'll go with that. Let's see. Oh, we should try to summon the ghost. All right, let's. We're gonna maybe close the show with summoning a ghost. So we're not just ghosts. Get prepared. All right. Let's talk about before we run out of show. Well, the last type of ghost is cold spots.
Oh.
Which I suppose could be incorporated into interactive personality, but it's very common that you feel like that chill in the air, the cold spot when something's haunted.
Yeah.
But I think most of the time people are like, when they're in haunted houses, these are old ass houses.
They're old houses, which are also drafty houses.
Right. So you're gonna find a cold spot when you want one.
Yeah, I got a cold spot sometimes in my bedroom, but I wouldn't say it's. I won't attribute that to Joan. I'll attribute that to everything to do with living in the mountains in the wintertime.
Exactly. All right, real quick, before we get into actual ghost hunting and try to summon our ghosts.
Oh, yeah.
You mentioned Western versus Eastern ghosts.
Oh, yeah. Well, this is mostly just about the lore around ghosts, right? So because I've noticed this, like, because I'm a horror movie fan, right? And a ghost story fan. And this is funny. For all my skepticism around ghosts and whatever, I will say this: I don't like horror movies that are not about supernatural things. Slasher movies are not scary to me because that's just who could be killed.
Sure.
Conceivable. I mean, obviously, the ones in most of the slasher movies seem to be.
Well, they're all immortal now.
Yeah, they seem to be immortal of some sort, but. I'm just saying, like, that still the idea of a guy with a machete or a chainsaw or a glove of knives or whatever the hell, that shit doesn't really spook me. The stuff that spooks me, the movies I get irked by are usually ghost stories or vampires or werewolves and that kind of kind of shit that I do not believe in, but that's what's scary to me.
Right. Okay.
That being said, so watching a lot of it, in the last decade or so, we've had this influx of Japanese ghost stories because I guess we ran out of the number of retellings we could do of our own stories in Western culture.
Sure. But yeah, we started getting like The Ring and those types of things.
Yeah. So I noticed this trend, though, that Japanese ghosts are able to affect the material world in a way that Western ghosts are not. As you recall,
we have Midwestern ghosts. Oops, sorry about gotten you. You betcha. Exactly. Oh, so sorry. So sorry I'm haunting you. Wait. I'm so sorry I'm haunting you. Hold on.
You know how you get rid of a Midwestern ghost, though?
Ow.
You just, like, sprinkle some hot sauce on it. It'll go away.
Exactly.
Oh, but anyway, what so in the Western tradition, the ghost cannot affect the material world. It can only basically it can provoke the living into doing something. Like let's go back to Hamlet. Say,
right.
You know, the ghost of Claudius comes and says, you know, he tells him the story. You know, you need to do this, you need to do that. The ghost doesn't do a damn thing. He just tells his story. Hamlet's then provoked into madness or whatever the hell, you know? That's basically how Western ghosts act. The only time you'll ever get a contrary thing where the ghost can manipulate the material world, it has to be something that's directly related to the ghost. It had to be like an object that the ghost owned.
Right.
Like, if it wasn't something that the ghost had in life, they can't. Like, they couldn't just go move, or like, you couldn't bring a new item into the house, throw it there, and the ghost couldn't manipulate it, right?
Right.
It would have to have been something that belonged to the ghost. Like, it's got to have some sort of connection. Anyway, but in Japanese ghosts,
oh yeah, they fuck shit up.
They fuck shit up, and they will kill your ass. Like,
yeah.
And they so. Also, the other thing about Western ghosts is all the Western ghosts wants you to do is solve its problems. Basically,
then it'll move on.
It'll move on to the next realm. Yes. Like, it's basically, it wants a therapist. It's just like, I need therapy so I can deal with my shit. So
Which is probably a situation about American, like, that's a statement about American culture that we have not delved into enough.
Right?
Like, we didn't spend enough time on our mental health for so long.
Then now I'm dead and I still can't deal with it.
Right? But, like, it's a commentary on, but I like that it's also then a commentary on Japanese culture, because them ghosts will kill you.
Yeah, them ghosts will kill you. I always think that's interesting. Like, they don't, and even if you solve, they do want you to solve their mystery, but that's not enough, because they're still going to kill you. They're like, thank you so much for proving that I was murdered. Now I'm going to kill you.
Right.
And so I just think that's kind of some cuckoo pants weird. I don't know, like, it's funny that we both come at it from two completely different angles, I guess.
Right.
But it's just something I've noticed in watching a lot of ghost stories, which I'm enthralled. I love ghost stories in spite of my skepticism. So,
that's fair. All right, real quick before we get into ghost hunting, I do want to talk about, because I had wait on here, haunted houses and hotels. You've obviously talked about your haunted house. Mm-hmm. I think we had a house haunted by a ghost cat in the past. Excuse me, but haunted hotels. Have you ever stayed in a haunted hotel?
One, I didn't see anything. We stayed at this really old hotel in Boone, or outside of Boone, like between Boone and what's north of Boone? Blowing Rock. It's like on the, somewhere up there.
Right.
Really old hotel that's been there since like the 1890s or something. Mm-hmm. Looked like The Shining, like the long ass hallways and shit. Actually, you know what? We stayed in a similar hotel that was built in the 1920s in Tampa.
Right.
That I took pictures of the hallway and shit, because I was like, oh, this is creepy as fuck. And it's, anything that's that old, yeah, probably haunted, but I didn't see anything. But I'm familiar. So my ex-wife, I remember she told me she worked for this company that was out of they were out of somewhere in Colorado, not one of the bigger cities. I think it was Aurora, maybe. I don't know.
Boulder?
No, it wasn't Boulder. It was some. I don't know. She was working for this software company that the headquarters was in some little town in Colorado, and when she went to go do some training, she stayed in this hotel there that was supposedly one of the more haunted hotels in the country. And she told me some stories about how like sometimes you would see like just a handprint like appear on the window or some shit like that,
No, that's scary.
Yeah.
So specifically, we went to Savannah for a friend's 30th birthday a few years back. And she loves haunted things, scary things. So she specifically chose to stay in a hotel called the Marshall House. And of course, every hotel in Savannah is haunted because it's Savannah.
Yeah, Savannah's like just haunted up and down. It's like Philadelphia. It's like those are two haunted fucking cities.
But man, the Marshall House, like, I was fairly skeptical. It was a cool building. And I was fairly skeptical going in, but after we got back from like, bar hopping or whatever, and Matt and I were staying in our own room, we got in and we were both getting ready, like we were between the bathroom and like the little front hallway where like you'd have your little, like the closet and stuff.
Yeah.
We were just both standing there and we both heard a voice clear as day, and now I can't remember what he said, but like both of us heard the same thing, and I said, "Did you say something?" And Matt's like, "No." And then he repeated back to me what he just heard, and it was the same thing. And I was like, fuck! But then the weirder part of that night is we went to bed. Nothing out of the ordinary. Both of us went to sleep. It was fine. Everybody was fine. The next morning when we woke up, and I toss and turn in my sleep a lot. Matt doesn't really move in his sleep. Mm-hmm. And the next morning he had like a big cut on the side of his face, and it looked like he had been punched. It was really weird. Like it wasn't just like a crease. It wasn't like, it looked like he had literally been punched. Mm. It was so weird. It was so very weird. Yeah. Heather, this is a big one. Heather stayed at a haunted hotel. Temperature dropped suddenly, super cold, see my breath. Went to the bathroom. All the stuff was moved to a different place. That would terrify me. I'll just be honest there, if that happened. Would not like that. Mm. All right, so let's get into, before we close the show, because we are nearly out of time, and I do know we have things that are extra. So real quick, ghost hunting, and I do recommend, if you like ghost hunting shows, watch BuzzFeed Unsolved Supernatural, because it's fucking hilarious. But they use all the basics, right? Like you get the voice recorder, so you do the voice recorder so you can have like, it's usually like a creak that you can interpret as a word.
Right, yeah.
And then the EMF reader, where you do the electromagnetic pulses.
Right.
And then my favorite one that they use that is so funny is it's an EVP reader, but they call it a spirit box. So I guess ghost hunters call it a spirit box. But it's basically this little device that you turn on, and it scrolls through radio frequencies at such a high rate, like super high rate of radio frequency. Like it would never stop on an individual frequency to hear words. Mm-hmm. But the idea is, for some reason, ghosts like to communicate this way. And if it scrolls through these radio frequencies at a very high rate of speed, sometimes you make out words, and sometimes you make out whole sentences. And I've seen some on this show, like, I realize the show is funny, but there was some that I was like, holy shit, that was, like, they were in a lighthouse where one of the people who died in the lighthouse was named Eliza, and this super fast rate of speed thing said clearly Eliza when they asked her the question. Huh. It's crazy. It's crazy. Okay. I think it's worth checking into.
I'll look into it. I've not seen that one. I've seen several of the other.
A lot of the other ones are far too serious.
Yeah, like I said. Well, yeah, and like I said, they tend to just, they roll through a, asylum or prison. Just shine lights in the corners and then freak themselves out. And go, oh my god! And then they run around and
exactly.
And I'm like, oh my god, they're just spooking themselves. That's something that
happens. That is some of this show, but the way they do it is funny because the one is such a skeptic, and they'll do individual. Like they'll each stay in like a scary room or the house for like 15 minutes or whatever. Yeah. And the one guy's just like, whatevs, I'm hanging out doing a thing. This is fun. The other guy, everything scares him. And it's so funny to watch. Yeah. I highly recommend it. You can watch it on YouTube. It's also available on Hulu. Definitely recommend you check it out. All right, so we've been told we should try to contact the ghost before the end of the show.
All right,
so
I'm sensing the letter P or M or J, maybe. What do you think? Is it?
If there's a ghost in this room, make your presence known.
Yes.
Make your presence known. Like, if you're a ghost, just come on, show yourself to us.
Do it.
Oh, Saskatchewan.
You're gonna,
That's what,
the ghost is gonna knock out the video
Wow.
here. Is what he's gonna
That's-
do. Well, that's a very specific ghost.
well, that really changes my opinion of everything.
We're being haunted by Saskatchewan. It's a Canadian ghost.
I don't know. Maybe it just always wanted to go to Saskatchewan. Ghost, did you always want to go to Saskatchewan, and that's why you can't move on yet?
Hockey.
Hockey. Hockey. Yes,
All
exactly.
right.
Oh yeah, Afghan ghosts are terrifying.
Yeah.
All right. So we do have things that are extra today.
Yeah, I did have a thing. What was I going to say? Oh yeah, yeah. I
know.
remember now. I was so because it's Halloween-ish. I was listening to the radio, and I get so annoyed at like marketing buzzwords and stuff. But one of the things that kills me is they were talking about something. Oh, it's like some Halloween deal they're doing over in the next town over, and they were saying, come out, it'll be spooktacular, and I feel like that word gets thrown around a lot this time of year, spooktacular, and I feel like it's not always apt. Like you're overselling some of the things that these people are calling spooktacular are maybe they're mediocre or perhaps they're even boring. Like they fail to live up to being spooktacular. I'm just language means stuff, people. Like you can't just call. It's like these Gen Zers that say literally when they mean figuratively.
I do that too.
Absolutely fucking bullshit. Like no, literally means this actually happened. You can't just say it for anything. And likewise, you shouldn't say spooktacular if something's not really spooktacular.
The reason I know this grinds your gears is we had this same conversation a year ago.
Did we?
Yes, we
Did
did.
I do it on here?
Yeah, you sure did.
Jesus. Well, I guess it comes up every year this time.
Which is why I had to let you do it because I thought it was so funny that you were so
I'm
fired
still
up about
like,
it.
here it is again.
It's a year later,
It's
and you're
a
like,
year
I'm fucking fired up.
They're still talking about spooktacular.
So join us
Oh my God.
this time
Hey,
next year for another talk.
I'll tell you something else. In the summertime, I don't want to hear nothing that's going to be a whale of a time. Just be in the ocean. It probably won't be.
Probably won't be. That is fair. All right, folks. We appreciate you taking extra time to be with us tonight because
Yeah.
we were super late.
Yeah, we were crazy.
Yeah, but that's okay. We will be off next week. We'll be back in 2 weeks with a brand new show.
We will.
So, Bill, why don't you take us away?
Sure. Bill Has Opinions is engineered and produced by Laura Lavoie. The opinions expressed by Bill are his and his alone unless Laura agreed with them. Or if a ghost agreed with them, then the ghost certainly didn't speak up.
Ooh,
Ample-
poutine.
Had ample time to.
Damn Canadian ghosts.
Yeah, really.
They're just infesting the
Oh my
place.
gosh, yeah. Anyway, let's see. Be sure to like and subscribe on YouTube. Follow us on the Facebook. Tune in 2 weeks from now for a new episode at the same time. Well, not the same time. Earlier.
Yeah,
because
it's a
we're not gonna be
regular
late.
time.
Ideally, we're not going to be late.
Yeah.
Tune in at 7 p.m. Eastern. It'll be.
Oh, that's right. It will be Eastern Standard.
Yeah, because the
That'll
time
be
should change this weekend, I
this
believe.
coming-
Right?
No, not this weekend. The following weekend.
Jesus, they keep moving this shit
They
around.
do, but yeah, it's not.
It gets later and later. Like at some point, we're just going to be like, the hell with it. Why bother?
I agree. We should just not bother.
I mean, and I'm actually a proponent of daylight savings time, but
Well, I'm fine with
I'm
either
tired of them
way.
moving the date
Like,
around.
one or the other. Like, let's. Okay, but
Okay.
that's a
That's a whole
show
other
for
thing.
another time.
Anyways, yeah. Anyway, thanks for joining us. Have a great Halloween.
Happy Halloween! And also, we're joined by Pineapple Pete.
Yeah, Pineapple Pete.
He's our ghost, our haunted pineapple.
Yeah.
For the show. But all right, folks, we'll see you in 2 weeks for a show about misinformation.
Yeah.
Should be a fun time for all.
Yeah.
And
or conversely, it won't be.
that's fair. Happy Halloween, everybody!
Maple syrup.
Woo! Happy Halloween!